G'day, friends and fans, and welcome to Writing Corner. This is episode 20, me, myself, and I. Yes. The dreaded pronoun game. Of course, all personal pronouns have a matching inflection and use. There are many errors throughout literature, in fact, on the use of pronouns, and we're not discussing the political pronouns or the imaginary pronouns or the modernized pronouns or anything like that, just me, myself, and I today. Now, the grammar rules, according to the Standardized American Guide, which is slightly different from Oxford, although it agrees on pronouns, is that I, we, you, he, she, it, they are personal, and that they are used when the pronoun is the subject of the verb, such as I am talking to you. Now, you, me, him, her, it, they, them are also pronouns, but whereas I, they, she, him, he, it, and all the others, they get very confusing, don't they? So we'll just distinguish. Personal pronoun is when you are referring to the singular, whereas me, us, they, them, it, you, them are personal. That is when you are referring to the object of the verb. So I am talking to you. You being the objective of the verb or the recipient of the action, if you are using the modern American pronoun guide, the recipient of action. They are dumbing down a little bit, aren't they? Because a lot of people don't understand pronouns because it's a political hot topic. And often the textbook guides, well, it's hard when you're reading a professional guide when you don't learn what a pronoun is, when you don't learn what a subject or object is. Funny how lawyers want to be specific and then textbooks aren't. But personal pronouns have a matching reflective pronoun. That is me, myself, you, yourself, you, yourselves, her, herself, him, himself, it, itself. When referring to one refers to oneself. Whereas when we're talking about our collective group, we're talking about ourselves. When we're talking about their collective group, they are themselves. Now, it gets very confusing if you don't be in the habit of using pronouns. And the thing is, you get in the use and the habit of using the standardized pronouns. You're not going to develop a habit overnight, but you are going to develop the habit and you are going to improve your writing, because you, to be inclusive, cannot use coded language or buzzwords or politicized language. You must be speaking to the standardized English language user. Therefore, your pronouns must reflect that. But if you're using language where somebody who uses buzzwords is referring to themselves or talking, it is within the dialogue where you save your buzzwords. But in general sentence, always try to use reflective pronouns for the object, never the subject. It makes it so much easier. So you have I, subject, verb, or object, verb, subject. Direct, indirect, and of course, when this action is direct, you express the subject, verb, pronoun. Object, verb, pronoun. Yes. So, and you can use intensifiers. Now, myself is an intensifier. I will contact her myself. That's often cut out in modern language, but intensifiers do exactly what they say. They add emphasis, and you don't even have to think about it. You automatically recognize the intensity. So if you omit words, you make the language confusing. And if you constantly use somebody's name, it makes the flow of language hard. So the general rule of pronouns is pronoun or name. So if you use pronoun, second sentence will use the name. Unless you're using the singular, then you stick to the pronoun, me, myself, and I. This is often confusing because a lot of romance and erotica these days are written in the first person. A lot of fantasy has third person viewpoints with first person dialogue. A lot of thrillers, etc., all now seem to follow in that, where it seems to be less and less first person everywhere but romance. A lot of romance seems to be in the first person. I don't know myself from personal experience, but if you got to remember, I don't sample over 2.5 million books to verify this information. But so you got the name in, so me, myself, and I, and you use that as, try to use it only every second sentence. Try to have something breaking up. So you're not saying, I went to the store, I bought a bunch of stuff, I assembled a illegal firearm or something like that. You're just not saying I all the time. So that's why we use a lot of indirect language. So when you're interacting with somebody, so when you're describing interaction with somebody, you start with their name and what they did, or Larry received the gift that I gave him. Larry and I went to the store. It's not Larry and me, it's Larry and I. When you're using the direct language, we did something. I asked Jason to give Larry and me the tickets to the concert. See, indirect, secondary. Primary is I, me, secondary or indirect. It's style over substance to many. But me, myself, and I is emphasis on this individual speaker. So when you're referring to me and myself, there is a difference. It's about emphasis. I describe myself as an introvert. That doesn't matter how others see me. See, myself is the emphasis. Me is just the subject. See, myself is identical to I in many cases for emphasis. and you may use it. See, myself is the intensifier. So I myself am not going to put up with my poor grammar. I seek to improve my poor grammar. I seek to master my own language. And if you're not an English language speaker, I can forgive you for not. I don't assume the writer of every book that I read is an English language, but yet I see so many people doing better than I for grammar. But I have seen a lot of mistakes. Now, me is a bit of a sticky point because a lot of people refer to themselves, like, again, in the primary saying, me want, or me have, or me shall. No, that's the use of I in the primary. I will. You will give to me. Me is when you're the recipient. I is when you're the primary. Whereas myself is only when you want to be the recipient or in emphasis or the giver in emphasis. It's, I will do this myself. I myself will do the chores. I never thought of myself as divorced. I never thought it would happen to me. I've always thought of myself not as divorced, but abandoned. And it's a lot of reality. I shouldn't really use myself as a subject, but it's better to use myself as a subject than other people because everybody has their own motivations and interpretations. I'm pretty sure when it comes to exes, everybody sees their ex as the devil incarnate up until 5 minutes before they break up, and sometimes 5 minutes after. But during that moment, yes, unfortunately, the ego takes over. So, final thoughts. Although this has been a pretty short one, I appreciate each and every one of you. As I said in previous videos, I will try to keep this as short as possible. This is about my writing journey and pretty much prompted by my own problems with grammar. And I've had some questions off air with people about the AIs. If you want me to try an AI, I do use Grammarly and I do use, to some lesser extent, I use ProWritingAid. I swap between the two. I also use Microsoft Editor. I don't have a particular favorite. I use all three, but there are some new editors out. I haven't used Hemingway. I've also heard of a writing AI that's just come out. But apparently that's upfront money. I will try them if I can, but I'm reluctant to try a program that I haven't used before, and especially forking out money to give a review of a program that I may not use, given the fact that right now I have a lack of computing power to run an AI properly and a lack of memory, and I lack the hard drive space. So I apologize if you want a review. I've also pretty much been distracted by the fact that a lot of people have asked to expand upon expanding vocabulary. So that is what I'm working on. And yes, I've had feedback that I do need to improve my vocabulary and my general use of the English language. It just not just in these videos, but to either write at a 5th grade level, like AKA Harry Potter, or write at a more adult level, aka your average political thriller, or somewhere in between, like for a 13 to 15-year-old for most fantasy. But I'm not aimed at a younger audience. I'm aimed at a mature audience, and so I want to mature my language and write at a more mature level. So I'm trying to improve, and I'm sharing my improvements with you, partly to get feedback from you, partly to pass on what I learn, because I know if the more we improve, the more people who we get reading. But according to Amazon, there isn't a decline in book readership. There's just more books. But I don't see it. I see a lot of good authors who aren't on the front page, and a lot of people who've sold lots of books already still on the front page, even though they don't have the sales. I don't like this pay-to-win model that Amazon has become. Once upon a time, Amazon's front page was always rotating, new books were there for a day and stuff like that. That's all gone. Recommendations based on your reading habits. The problem is I keep getting the last book I looked at, even though I've bought it. Amazon isn't what it used to be, and it's disappointing, but it is what it is. The readers aren't there, for 80% of the market's still with Amazon. So, and yet people are telling me books like mine aren't being promoted by Amazon. And I know that it's pay to win. Don't have to tell me something I've already said several times. Amazon's pay to win, publishing is pay to win. But I appreciate each and one of you, and I ask you to please, try to watch some of my live streams. Right now, if you're watching on Rumble, give us a like, give us some feedback. Press that follow button. If you want, join my locals community. Interact with me. I know it's going to take time. Some people are only listening. Some people just want that level of anonymity, not to. And I can understand that, but hopefully I will get more questions and feedbacks on topics. I'll try to, because I'm working on my spelling, I'm working on my grammar, I'm working on my general language. I'm always working to improve all the time. This week, of course, a new month, I've started a new chapter in my book. The erotic, yes, it's called The Erotic Tales of the Empire. It's set between the events of book 3. It's actually set inside the events, around the events, in and around the events of book 3, between the different chapters. It's not mostly focused on March through to September, although most of it's just the heavy front end, of course. It's just pretty much around March of Cade's coming of age. And book 4 will be following on from book 3. Sorry, it'll be for book 5. Sorry, will follow on. Book 4, is currently in development on Patreon. If you want to be an advanced reader, warning in advance that there will be, the book is subject to change and final edits all the way. But thank you for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. I see a couple of you live at Rumble. YouTube is rather quiet today. Again, though Twitter's been very quiet as well, and so has Facebook. Hope I haven't offended you all, because I do see that you do view later. Maybe it's just a matter of timing. Is there a better time? if I can just get a poll of what would be a better time for you all. So let me know, and I'll see you all later. Thank you for your time. I appreciate with all the options you have for entertainment and for blogs and for to actually listen to me ramble on for a little while. Have a good day, good night, good evening. Oops, wrong one. Again, thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. I really need feedback. The algorithm does not recommend channels that do not get either a like, a share, and if you don't subscribe, eventually they'll stop recommending my channel to you. Most of you are not subscribed. Most of you do, however, listen to at least most of what I have to say. So I appreciate you. That is rare for most YouTubes. Trust me, most people aren't watching past 5 minutes. That's why shorts are doing so well. And this is a hard topic to do as a short, I tell you. Just ramble on. Me, myself, and I. Give you a couple of examples. Mate, done. Yeah, maybe I should do that. Should I? Question mark. Anyway, to support the channel, links in the description below. Without you, I cannot do this without financial support. I need a new computer and hey, if you want to see, better content, give me some topics. But I appreciate you either way. I do, however, want to sell books and make a living. Goodbye. See you again.